Right now, we're seeing a lot of those older adult scams that we've seen over and over and over again for decades. We have also seen a lot of COVID-19 scams, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're not talking about the virus itself. We are talking about the scams associated with the virus, because scammers do follow the news, and they're always trying to be one step ahead of us. We need to be one step ahead of them. And where does that start other than prevention? We need to know what to look for. We need to know who's trying to fool us, and we need to know the tactics that they typically use to fool us into being scammed out of our hard-earned money. Not only do scams hurt you financially, but some scams do hurt you emotionally as well. Back to me, I also work with our accredited businesses in the Southwest quadrant of the state. We have about 6,700 businesses statewide that are accredited. I handle about 1,000 of them, so I'm working with them regularly. And I also do consumer outreach as well. I give presentations like this. So if any of you would like a presentation from us, they're completely free. I do them in person or Zoom. We have a variety of a library of topics, anything from COVID-19 scams to consumer scams to all about the BBB. I also participate in fairs and events, anywhere that we can give out free promo items, goodie bags. If you have an event that you're looking for some bag stuffers, we can do that. We'd like to participate with a table where we can. So if any of you have anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information will be at both the beginning and the end of the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about COVID-19 scams. Just a few housekeeping items. Mike, if you could monitor the chat, that would be great. Sometimes it's hard for me to see those come through. I will pause between each slide, which is typically a new topic. So feel free to type your questions into the chat box. If you would like to speak, feel free. I like this to be an engaging conversation. So feel free to ask your questions. Just unmute yourself. You can also raise your hand as well. And Mike or myself will either try to get to you. Again, I'll pause between each slide so I can answer those questions. If you feel the most comfortable saving your questions to the end, that's okay too. We're scheduled for an hour here. However, I don't have anything after this, so we can continue to talk. No big deal there. Or if you'd like to contact me privately and answer your questions, we can do that too. You can either call me by phone or you can reach out to me via email. So lots of different options there to get your questions answered. Mike, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Go ahead.
Okay, I have host disabled participant screen sharing.
I thought I had that allowed for you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So to get started here, the BBB is open for business. Our staff is willing and able to help. You can either contact us through email, phone, or live chat. Live chat and phones are on from approximately 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Most of our office has been working from home since March. However, we are very busy. We're handling complaints. We're working with consumers. We're doing everything that we did before coronavirus. So feel free to reach out to us. You can get to the live chat through our website at bbb.org/Wisconsin. There's also email information as well there too that you can find, and our phone number. A little bit about the BBB. The BBB is a nonprofit organization, and we help people find businesses and charities that they can trust. Pretty simple. The first BBB started in 1912. The BBB serving Wisconsin is 80 years old, so we have been helping consumers in the state for a long time already. The BBB is not federally funded. We do not receive any federal funds for the government. All of our operating income does come from those accredited businesses who support us through accreditation. So when you're looking for a business, make sure that you're looking at those accredited businesses to possibly use as priority over a non-accredited business, because they are the ones who are supporting us to move forward and keep consumer interest, trust with the consumers and the businesses. Many of you know us as being able to file a complaint. And yes, that is something that we do, but that's not everything that we do. I'm going to move that into that in a little bit. The first thing that I want to bring to your attention is that we do business and charity reviews. So if you're looking for a business to use, whether it's an online retailer, a financial consultant, a plumber, HVAC, anything for your home, turn to bbb.org and check out that business first. Same as if you're giving to a charity, you definitely want to check us out. Go to bbb.org. You can check out any type of business name or a business category. Search what you're looking for. You can see when the company was established. You can see who owns the company, what they do, their rating with the BBB, extremely important. There are ratings from A+ to an F. And you may see, oh, you know, every business I've checked out has an A+ rating. Yes, you know, the majority of our businesses do have A+ rating. However, there are plenty with Fs, and I can tell you who those Fs are. So don't be so sure. That rating does change. So just because you checked them out 6 months ago does not mean they still have an A+ rating with us. If they didn't respond to complaints or if they had any government actions against them, their rating may change rapidly. So be sure that you're checking that out. You can also read reviews. You can read customer complaints and how that business resolved those complaints. We want you to check out multiple platforms when you're doing your research. So go to BBB, go to Google, go to Yelp, read what people are saying about their experience with the business. Extremely important before you enter into any type of business agreement with any type of company, whether you're willing to spend $25 or $25,000. It's your money. It's extremely important. We have those dispute resolution services that everybody knows us for. If you're not happy with an experience that you had with a business and you want something and they're not giving you your money back or giving you the product, file a complaint with us. And our dispute resolution services will work with the business to try to resolve your complaint. If it is an accredited business, there's going to be more of a chance that that complaint is resolved rather than if it's not an accredited business, because our accredited businesses have already pledged trust with us to do the right thing. So you'd work with that dispute resolution specialist and your complaint goes to the business. Throughout the complaint process, the business has the opportunity to respond and resolve your complaint. If you're not happy with it, the way that it comes back, you say, you know what, I'm not happy with this, send it back to the business. And it goes back and forth before there's a time frame that it does get closed. So hopefully we can resolve your complaint. I can tell you on a regular month, we typically resolve and process about 400 complaints, and that's through the BBB Serving Wisconsin alone. During COVID-19, we doubled that number. So consumers are using our services, and it is a free alternative to going to court. So use us, and you can do that by filing a complaint at bbb.org/complaint. We also have an advertising review handle of the business where if consumers see misleading advertising, they can bring that to our attention, and our advertising review specialists work with that business to try to resolve that misleading advertising to help other consumers out. That's where a lot of our investigations stem from, misleading advertising complaints that come in as well. And moving forward, we do have a full-time director of investigations on our staff. Her and I work very closely together, and we investigate bad businesses. We have great relationships with law enforcement, the FBI, the IRS, any type of federal agency, the Department of Justice, and we have done investigations that have led getting business owners put in jail. So what we're doing out there is important in keeping trust in the marketplace. We work with the media. So our findings, our consumer tips, findings from investigations, scam alerts, we bring that to the media's attention and we try to get that out to the consumer so that the consumer is aware of what's happening in our marketplace. The consumer outreach and speaking engagements I have spoke about. One thing that I didn't mention is if you have a consumer newsletter or a newsletter for your organization and would like content for us to provide on a monthly or regular basis, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to do that. I do write for some publications and usually include the most timely information that we have regarding either the latest scams or consumer tips or whatever we have to bring to the public's attention. So that is a free service that we can offer to your organization. We create standards for good ethical businesses. So our accredited businesses pledge the 8 standards of trust, and some of those are advertise honestly, tell the truth, be transparent. They have pledged that they're going to be an ethical business. And above all, we are advancing marketplace trust with everything we do. So as you can see, we do a lot more than just complaints, and everything ties back to creating an ethical marketplace where buyers and sellers can trust each other. Getting into the COVID-19 scams that are going on in our marketplace right now, this graph pretty much says it all. The statistics show that 11% of all scams are COVID-related scams. And that may seem with a low number, but we've only been dealing with COVID for 5 or 6 months, since March roughly. That's when a lot of them started to come out of the woodwork. So that is a pretty high number. And even staggering is that 68% of reported scams are saying that the consumer is losing money to a COVID-19 scam. That's a really high percentage. So 11% of our scams that are out there are COVID related, but 68% of consumers are losing money. And that median dollar loss is $76. And that gets into website scams. And I'm going to talk in detail about that. The most common type of scam that's out there is masks. People are looking for the PPE that is not available in the stores. And if you think about it, people are turning to these unfamiliar websites to order low cost items. So we think about the paper towels, the Clorox wipes, the masks, the goggles, the face shields, all of that is more of a low cost item, which is where this median amount loss is coming from. That number will probably continue to climb over time, but those are the numbers that we're seeing right now. And the people that are most susceptible to the scam, you can see that the 35 to 54-year-old age group is the highest. However, we're all consumers, and it's really across the board. When you compare 74 to 69 to 63%, it's all very high. We're all consumers, and we're all susceptible to these scams happening to us. I'm going to move into fraudulent websites because, as I mentioned, this is what we're seeing the most of right now. You're looking for an item, you can't find it in a retail store. You Google, you can't find it on Target, you can't find it on Walmart.com. So you're just Googling the item, masks for sale, or any other type of PPE. And you're coming across these unfamiliar websites, and these unfamiliar websites lure you in. A lot of times they're phony websites, but they may look legitimate. And a lot of these were created right when the coronavirus pandemic started. And when we look at these, we may see inflated prices. We always see fake or no business contact information. So when you're looking at a website and it looks real, you need to take a closer look at it. I'm going to show you some examples here what to kind of look for as we purchase more and more items online. We definitely want to check the website URL. You want to make sure that you're shopping a secure website that it starts with an HTTPS, not an HTTP. Some of the fake websites do start with an HTTPS, so that isn't really a dead giveaway if it starts with an HTTPS. You really need to do your homework and look a little bit further. These websites are looking for your personal information, such as your name, address, and credit card number. They may be able to link that back to your social security number to scam you in some other way down the road. So they may be offering you counterfeit products. They may be trying to sell you products that you're never going to receive as well. That's where the $76 loss comes in. And you think, oh, it's only $76. Well, it is a big deal because you lost $76, your neighbor lost $76, their friend lost $76, and it just continues to compilate. So very important that you are reporting these as well when you're losing money, because these websites go up as fast as they come back down. They're out to gather your personal information to scam you in some other way down the road, in addition to taking your money. And you might say, you know what? I'm just going to go to Amazon and order. Okay, stop right there. Amazon has bad sellers on it too. When you order from Amazon, you want to check out the seller completely. You want to read their customer reviews. You want to Google their seller name. Extremely important. If they're selling on Amazon, they're probably selling on other platforms as well. You want to see what people are saying about that seller. Is that seller trustworthy? Is that seller delivering quality products? Is that seller delivering products at all? You want to make sure that you are buying from a reputable source. And when we look at a fake website, this is not necessarily a fake website, but this is a website that could be fake. And when everybody was looking for these infrared thermometers, we saw this all over Facebook. Thermometers were popping up. A lot of them were counterfeit, so people were getting their products, but they weren't getting a quality product. A real infrared thermometer ranges about $140 to $150, and these websites were popping up at $30, $40 a pop. Places were jumping on the bandwagon left and right. Businesses who needed a dozen of them, why would they spend $140 for one when they could get one for $30 to $40 when they were buying 12 of them? So these websites were popping up left and right, and you know, this website looks great, doesn't it? How would you not know that it's not real until we get to the price and we get to some of the copy on the website? Illegitimate website is usually going to have some typos, some spelling errors. You're going to want to read what they're saying. In this case, due to the surge in thermometers, the supply falls short of demand. Your orders will be random fulfilled from the following 3 models. That really doesn't make sense. A professional website would go through a lot of copywriting. It would not just be thrown up there with grammatical and spelling errors. They all have the same features. Highly appreciate your understanding. What professional company would write that? So really think about that. Another thing that you can do is look for the contact information on the website. In this case, this website has an email address and just a box where you can type your question. A real legitimate website will have full contact information. So the name of the business, it'll have the business address, the business phone number, and a business email address. You should always Google that address. Is it going to a place of business, or is it going to an empty field or a UPS store? If it's going to an empty field or a UPS store, it's probably a fake website. If it only has an email address like this and a contact us box, again, probably not the safest way to spend your money. You also want to look for the privacy policy. Does the website offer a privacy policy? And that privacy policy should tell you what they're doing with your personal information that they collect. Are they just using it for internal use, or are they selling it to a third-party company? If they don't have a privacy policy, a red flag. That's another thing that you can look for. And also, when you're looking at websites, extremely important to find out when that website was created, especially if it's an unfamiliar website. If you're shopping Target.com, I probably wouldn't do this myself. But if I'm shopping a website that I've never heard of before, you bet I'm going to check it out. And you can do that by going to GoDaddy.com/whois. That's GoDaddy.com/WHOIS. And you're going to type in the website name, and you're going to get a lot of information that may look gibberish to you. However, there's some key information that you want to look for. The first thing is the updated and created date. If it was the website was created during the coronavirus pandemic, starting in March, it's probably a fake website. So really pay attention. In this case, it was created in the height of the pandemic at 3/25 of 2020. Probably don't want to order from it. Some sites, or some of this information will tell you where that website was created. In this case, it does not. We see Hong Kong, China, Singapore, anywhere overseas. If that website was created in a country over across the ocean, you probably don't want to order from them. You're not always going to be able to get that information, but the date is a telltale sign, along with all that contact information, if they're spelling, grammatical errors, the lack of a privacy policy. So some good tips as you purchase online, possibly from some unfamiliar sources. Moving into some scams that are going on right now, we're seeing some phony text and email scams. What happens is you get either a pop-up or you get an unsolicited email or an unsolicited text message that's offering different things. The scam takes on several different forms. It may say that you're available or you can take an online coronavirus test. There are no online coronavirus tests. The only way that you can get a test is either through a free testing center or through your doctor's office. If anybody emails you or texts you, or there's a pop-up on your computer, you get a social media message, it is fake. It does not exist. Another thing that they're doing is they're trying to look for your personal information. So you go ahead and you click on this link. You fill out the information in order to look for the information they're offering you. There is no information they're offering you. They're looking to gather your personal information. So extremely important. You may get a message from a government agency that's telling you to do something, giving you instructions. Government agencies do not text. They do not communicate with you by phone most of the time. They do not communicate with you via a pop-up ad. They will always communicate you, with the exception of contact tracers, through mail, the first time unsolicited. So be very wary if you get any of this. The antibody tests, that was a thing a while back. A lot of that's not really being offered. If it is, you have to go through your doctor's office to get it. And the coronavirus tests are only available through a testing center or your doctor's office as well. Computer malware. As you get these things.
Tiffany,
Did you have a question?
Yeah, Isabel here would like to ask you a question.
Sure.
Tiffany, would these scam people ever call you via the phone? You said they didn't call you or by letter, but do they ever call personally on the phone to you?
The scammers or a real person from the government?
The scammers.
The scammers, yes. The scammers may reach out to you via phone as well. Phone, text, email, social media messaging. A lot of times they come through the robocalls, which we'll get to in a little bit. So if the only person, and I'll talk about this a little bit later in my presentation, from a government agency who will reach out to you via phone unsolicited the first time is a contact tracer. And we are going to talk about how you can identify a real contact tracer from a fake contact tracer. So yes, be very wary of any type of phone call that you would get offering any type of coronavirus treatment or any other thing that they offer. We all know we get a variety of these robocalls that are plaguing our phones left and right, and they're always coming up with the next best thing. So be very, very wary of those calls, and I'll talk a little bit about those calls in a little bit. Moving into those links that I had talked about that come through either pop-up messages or social media messages, text messages. Anytime you click on a link, beware. That information, once you click on it, you could be downloading a link or spyware, malware, ransomware, some type of virus to your computer. You can also unknowingly be letting a scammer into your computer with remote access. This does not have anything to do with COVID-19, but I'm going to share this story with how scary this actually is. So I got a phone call from a Dane County deputy last week, and she had told me that they have a report from a woman who got a pop-up on her computer, or I believe it was it was either an email or a pop-up that said her subscription to this organization that she's subscribed to is about to expire, and to avoid the $400 expiration fee, she is supposed to call this business and get it all squared away. So she called the phone number. Long story short, she had somehow given this person access to her personal computer. He was in her personal computer. We do not know if he was in her bank account, but he told her that he deposited $10,000 unknowingly to her bank account, and she was supposed to go to the bank, withdraw this money in cash, and send this money back to him at a California address. She did what she was told. He told her that she's supposed to get this money from the bank, Tell them it was for personal reasons. The bank told her no. That was one branch that they would not process a transaction. She went to another branch. She deposited or took out that money, sent it via UPS. Once she realized it was a scam, she called the police department, and before the police department could intercept it, the package was delivered and her $10,000 was gone. So somebody, going back to this whole computer thing, they accessed her computer via remote access. She was unknowingly, and they told her they deposited $10,000 in her bank account. We don't know if they were really in her bank account or pulling her leg, and she got scammed out of $10,000. And this happened on the west side of Madison. So anytime somebody tries to get in your computer, you're unfamiliar with the source, do not comply. You should have a trusted IT professional on your call list that you can call and ask them any type of computer question that you have. If you get an unsolicited phone call, click on a link that you're not supposed to. You know who to call to fix it. So very scary situation for this woman. And what we don't know is if this gentleman was really in her computer, which we understand that he was, and what he did to her computer. But this can happen through any type of link that you click on. If you click on a link on a text message that you can get, it can disable your phone completely. So extremely important that you know where you're clicking so that you don't get caught up in the spyware, ransomware, malware, any type of thing that they're going to either download your computer or get into your computer. And this is where we talk about contact tracers. And contact tracing really is a thing right now. And some of us may have been contacted by a contact tracer because we were exposed to somebody else who tested positive. And a real contact tracer will identify themselves. They will state their name and where they're calling from. Most likely the Department of Health from that certain county that they're calling from. They will ask you to verify your name and address. They will always make the first phone call. They will never text you. They may text you further down in the process. I do know somebody who did get a phone call from a contact tracer and had to self-isolate. The contact tracer called her every day, and at some point the contact tracer legitimately asked her, "Can I text you over the weekend?" So that was after that relationship was established. But if you get a text message saying that you may have been exposed to COVID-19, it's probably illegitimate. The information they won't ask you for. They'll never ask you information about your current health, where you traveled. They will never ask you for bank account numbers or to verify your social security number. If you get a phone call like that, hang up. It is not a real contact tracer. You can always verify if somebody is calling you that's a contact tracer. Reach out to your local health department. Ask, did this person call me? Same with if a utility scam, and I'm not going to talk about this in general. If somebody would call you saying that you owe money on your utility bill, you would call the number for the utility company, not the number that they gave you. So just be really careful because contact tracers are calling people, and we are expecting another spike in October or November. So more and more people may be getting contact tracer calls, and that's okay. But we need to be able to identify what's legitimate and what's a scam. The government aid consultant scam. This is a new scam that is popping up. And scammers use websites, social media ads, and even instant messaging to lure their victims. And what they do is they say, I can help you get this government aid, either government aid that you've been denied for or government aid that is not available to the general public. The program isn't out there, but I have special access to it. And they ask you to complete some paperwork with your personal information, including your social security number. They ask you to pay a fee for their services and maybe even a cut of the funds received. Once you fill out all of this information and give it back to the so-called consultant who is a scammer, they disappear completely. You never see them again, and you've just given them all of your personal information. If a government program is available for aid of some sort, you are going to be able to find that on your own by researching the available programs that's out there. No government program is secret. It's available if it's available, it's going to be out there. There are no government aid consultants, so be very, very wary. If somebody calls you or reaches out to you via a social platform, a text message, any way that they reach out to you unsolicited, most likely a scam. Bottom line, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. In this case, that's something that you really need to pay attention for. There are no government aid consultants out there right now. Charities and donation requests. Scammers follow the news. They know that if people are in a disaster, illness, any type of reason why they can give money, scammers will try to capitalize on it. And they will send you emails trying to con you into donating to fake fundraisers. They will use common sounding names. So they may say something along the lines of the Salvation Army or collecting funds on behalf of the Salvation Army. They also make use of GoFundMe. There are a lot of legitimate fundraisers on GoFundMe, lots of ways to help struggling organizations, lots of ways to help struggling individuals by donating to GoFundMe. It's a great platform. Crowdfunding is something that we didn't talk about 5 years ago, but it's very normal these days. And you need to really check out that website where you're donating to. If you are donating to a GoFundMe for any reason, make sure that you have the real legitimate link where your hard money is going to the right person. Scammers will make pages that look almost identical to the real page. So make sure that you have the correct link. If you are giving to an organization, make sure that you give directly to the organization, not on behalf of the organization. So there are legitimate people who collect funds on behalf of organizations. However, sometimes they don't have the infrastructure to get it there. Cut out the middleman. When you give to a charity, give directly to the charity. And you can also utilize give.org. And give.org is BBB's charity handle, and you can check out the charity before giving a donation. If you are giving to a legitimate charity, they will provide you with their federal tax ID number so that you can write the donation off at the end of the year. You can ask several questions. If you get legitimate answers, everything checks out legitimately, it's most likely a legitimate charity. If you get vague answers, they don't want to answer your questions. Again, that's something that should raise a red flag. We always want to give with our heart, but we need to give with our head and make sure that our money is going to the place where it should be going. This is kind of going back to that question about the fake phone calls that are coming in. Yes, scammers use phone all the time. They also use email. They may claim to be Medicaid or Medicare representatives. They may offer free COVID-19 tests. As we talked about, COVID-19 tests are only available through a doctor's office or a free testing center. They may be phishing for personal information. I do want to just talk about the robocalls a bit because this is a big topic of discussion a lot. We all get a lot of robocalls. Right now, my phone is blowing up with the auto warranty. I think it just depends on the demographic and where you live, what phone call you're getting when. There's Medicare calls, there's insurance calls, there's all types of different calls out there. If you don't know the number that they're calling from or who's calling you, don't answer the phone. Chances are they won't leave a voicemail message. If they do leave a voicemail message, don't call them back on the number that they left you. That can cause so many different problems. It can end up with threats down the road. It can end up with you being scammed. Don't try to take on these scammers yourself. You cannot trust your caller ID. If it says the FBI is calling, the IRS is calling, any other federal agency is calling, chances are it's going to be a scam. If your phone is not registered on the do not call list or you do not remember if it's on the do not call list, put yourself on the do not call list. And you can make that call or go to the website donotcall.gov and register your phone. If you get a phone call and it says, please press 1 to remove yourself from the list, do not press 1. It is just graduating yourself to another list and you'll get more and more phone calls. So there's a way to mitigate these robocalls. They're never going to go away, but there are ways that we can lessen them. You can also block your phone, the number on your phone too. A lot of the smartphones do have a blocking function. You can also call your phone carrier, who may be able to help you as well. The phone companies are working hard to get rid of these robocalls and try to stop them. Just yesterday, I got a call coming in and it said potential spam. So it was already warning me that it was a spam call. And this is all the work that the phone companies are doing behind the scenes to help get rid of these calls and put an end. I shouldn't say put an end, because it's always going to be there, but really lessen the number of calls that consumers are getting and eliminate the chances of them getting scammed.
Hey, Tiffany,
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I get those things all the time too. And I noticed that Verizon has a monthly service, right? They want $5 a month. If you get a lot of phone, and we just had a recent number of people here at the office complain that they get, they're disruptive calls. They're getting 10, 12 calls a day. Are there any free services? I mean, free is worth what you pay for it, right? Sometimes, but are there any free that one could try? And if not, perhaps these monthly subscriptions from Verizon and other phone companies would be worth it.
I wasn't aware of the free subscriptions. I don't think that's something that my cell phone company offers, but it doesn't hurt. There's also a free service called nomorobo.com. That's N-O-M-O Robo, R-O-B-O.com. It's a legitimate website. You can order or put a landline on there for free, but the subscription for a cell phone, I think, is $1.99 a month. So that's an option as well. Again, a legitimate website, nomorobo.com, N-O-M-O-R-O-B-O.com. So you can try that one out too, but all these other steps for mitigating the do not call list, the blocking the number, the not pressing one, not answering. When you answer, they know that they've reached a working phone number. So if you don't answer the call, the chances of additional calls coming through are less. So all of those steps should help. It's never going to go away, but it will help with the whole issue altogether. I know it's frustrating. It happens over and over and over again. I do answer the calls. And the reason why I answer the calls is because I want to know what people are talking about when they get these phone calls and what's top of mind right now. Today it's the auto warranty. Tomorrow it's probably something else. I shouldn't answer the calls, but I do. But we don't want consumers answering these calls because it can just cause many more problems. Canceled events. This was a thing back in March. There may be organizations that are planning for events down the road, charging, people are buying tickets now. If this happens to you, airline tickets is another one. Before you purchase any type of event ticket, review the venue's cancellation policy. Read that fine print. Extremely important right now to really read and understand what you're buying. If the event is canceled or if it's postponed to another date, what's going to happen if that other date is canceled? Are they eventually going to refund your money? That should be in the cancellation policy. Check with your credit card company to see what type of options that you have. Can you dispute the charge if the event is canceled and they don't want to refund your money? So when you pay with a credit card, not a debit card, you have a lot of protections that a debit card does not offer you. A piece of plastic is not exactly the same. So make sure that you're paying with that credit card when you are buying event tickets, airline tickets, any type of tickets, because it is going to give you additional protections. You can also, if you don't find any type of information on the website, you can check with the distributor of the tickets. What's their cancellation policy? Ask you to email them the fine print. If you'd like to buy any type of ticket insurance or travel insurance, read the fine print again, because everything is going to be completely different. There is no universal policy, any universal language. Everything is going to be completely different, especially when it comes to travel. A lot of times pandemics are not item that you can cancel and get your money back. So you want to make sure you know what you're buying. And then above all, be patient. If an event is postponed and then postponed, there's probably a lot of other people who are looking for their money as well and answers to their questions. Just be patient because these are difficult times right now and definitely different than any of us have ever dealt with before.
Tiffany, can you hang on a second? Faisal, did you have a comment or a question here from a little bit earlier in the chat?
Yes,
Sure.
I wanted to share with the group about recent experience, and the speaker brought up the malware can be delivered by COVID, and I got an email, and the email contained all my personal information. And later on, I discovered that all my personal information is in the dark web. And it got there when Adobe was hacked in 2017. So, so this my personal information now is in the dark web, and I got that email as with the malware, as the speaker stated earlier, and I was at first I thought it was legitimate because it had all my personal information. In fact, they knew what was my malware soft company, which is Norton. And then I hung up, and it was over a weekend. And on Monday morning, when the banks opened, I called the fraud section in the bank, and they froze my account. And I had to go down, and I went down and change my account numbers. And then later on, when I tried to access my account, it was frozen. And so I called the bank and I said, why I cannot access my account? And they said that they noticed some suspicious activities trying to access my account, and therefore they cut me off. And they said the only way they could reconnect me is to get my computer to a professional firm so they can clean it. Clean the computer, and then they will allow me to access my account. So I wanted to share this with, and I had no knowledge. I mean, I knew about the Adobe hacking, and at that time they advised that we should freeze our credit ratings, and I did that for the two companies, major companies, but I wasn't alerted that my name, my personal information is in the dark web, and for all I know, it's still there. Somebody else may try again in the future. And of course, when I got the first, I thought it was legitimate, and I got, excited. And but after that, when I had a moment to reflect on it, I thought, no, that's not appropriate, legitimate, and I could. It was over the weekend, and because COVID-19 have reduced the hours for the banks and so on, I wasn't able to contact the bank till Monday morning. But the bank was very efficient. Right away, they closed my accounts. I'll be happy to take any questions if you have.
Thank you for sharing that story with us. So yes, as I had talked about, once you input your personal information, and if it is to a fake website, your information can be used later, which I had talked about. about. And in this case, it was put on the dark web. And what happens is scammers operate on the dark web and they say, oh, you want to buy 100 social security numbers? Sure, that's $50. And it gets into the hands of another scammer. And once the scammer has information on you, they can really do damage to you. And in this case, it sounds like they did some damage, and you can freeze your credit. There's two things that I wasn't going to talk about, but since you brought it up, I will. You can pull a weekly credit report right now until April of 2021. It's normally yearly, but they're allowing you to pull it weekly, and that's at annualcreditreport.com. Check to make sure that everything that should be on your credit report is on your credit report. And if there's something that you're not aware of that's on there, make sure that you contact the authorities to get that off. You can also freeze your credit by contacting each of the 3 credit reporting agencies. And what that does is freeze your credit so nobody can open credit in your name. When you're ready to reopen credit, if you want to open a mortgage or if you want to open a credit card, you simply have to call those credit reporting agencies and unfreeze your credit. That's another way to protect you, just to be a savvy consumer so that somebody isn't using your information and opening credit in your name. Thank you for sharing.
You are welcome. To follow up, as you suggested, almost a week later, I got the same telephone call and an email. And I ignored them. I knew I didn't answer the phone, and I didn't open the email either. Mm-hmm. So I still think I'm alert that, you know, my personal information, as you indicated, is still in the dark web, and it's being sold, and, you know, to whoever is interested. And so I may expect more of these in the future.
Right.
And, yeah. Thank you for
any identity theft. If you come across identity theft, that should be reported to the FTC. Mm-hmm. But yes, once it's out there, it's hard to get it, you know, removed. So be very careful with what you're signing up for, what information that you're providing. Make sure it is legitimate.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to me.
Sure, you're welcome. Thank you for sharing. Puppy scams. This is something that's associated with COVID-19 too. Consumers have been spending a lot of time at home right now. And what a better time to train a puppy. So what we've been seeing is consumers are Googling puppies near me, or I have a dachshund breeders near me. And you know, I find a bunch of lovable puppies and just falling in love with them online. So the consumer calls the so-called breeder, asks questions. The breeder asks the consumer to send a deposit, or if they want the puppy shipped, that they should send a special COVID-19 fee because they need a special cage or there's special shipping. They have all different types of reasons. So you send your money, you've never seen this puppy, but you have fallen in love with the puppy online, and the puppy never arrives to you. The scammer, or the so-called breeder, who's a scammer, just disappears. You're unable to get in touch with this person, and you've just sent them a deposit and possibly some fees to ship this dog. If you are looking at buying a puppy, we recommend that you check out the website and the breeder where you are buying this puppy from. You should be able to see the dog in person, meet the puppy. Don't just go off of a photo. If you're going off a photo, what you want to do is do a reverse search on that photo on the web to see if that photo is being used on other sites. If that same dog is being used on other sites, chances are it is a scam. Avoid wiring any type of money. Don't pay with any type of form of gift card. If somebody is asking you to go out and buy X amount of dollars in gift cards, scratch off the back and email or text the numbers back to them. It is a scam. And above all, consider adopting. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. if the puppy that you're looking for is roughly $500 and you see it for $100 or $200 on another site, that may be a red flag that it is a scam. So just be very, very careful. Furry friends are great to add to our homes, but we really need to be careful. And scammers have taken advantage of people staying at home right now. And they know that you can fall in love emotionally with a dog that you've never seen. And especially if we have kids in the mix here, we're promising our kids a puppy and the puppy may not exist. So be very careful when you're purchasing a dog or a cat or any type of furry friend for your your house. And the grandparent scam. I'm going to end the scams with this, and I'm going to move into Scam Tracker and show you exactly what happened in Monona. So some of you may be familiar with the grandparent scam, and the grandparent scam is typically when your grandchild or somebody close to your grandchild calls you and tells you that your grandchild has been in an accident or is sick and they need money immediately. Well, this has taken a new twist where the scammer or the so-called grandchild themselves calls and says that they've been diagnosed with COVID-19 and needs funds immediately. As a grandparent, you'll probably do anything for your grandchildren. You jump into high gear and you do anything. What do you need? And typically they say, well, I need X amount of dollars in gift cards to pay for my hospital stay, or I need to post bail for X amount of dollars. So you run out and you buy the gift cards that they are requesting, you scratch off the back and you email them back. What you don't realize is that you've just talked to a scammer who is imposing to be your grandchild. So they'll pick up the phone and say, "Hi, Grandma, this is your favorite grandchild." And you say, "Michael?" "Yeah, it's Michael." And it sounds like your grandchild. The story sounds real and you'll do anything. Well, what you don't know is you just gave the scammer your grandchild's name. It's not very hard to get that information. If they are buying it off the dark web, there's websites out there, any type of Facebook pages, you can usually find out who is related to who. So just because somebody calls and knows your grandchild's name, don't believe it. Really do your research. If you get this phone call, gift cards are the #1 giveaway that this is a scam. They're asking you to buy gift cards, just hang up on them. Next thing that you should do is call your child or your grandchild. Make sure that they're okay and they're healthy. Chances are they're going to be and you've just been scammed. The scammer is most likely going to tell you to keep this a secret in some way, shape, or form. Don't tell mom or dad. Sometimes this takes on the twist that the child is traveling and has been hurt or injured or has done something illegal. So it takes a lot of different forms. The form that I'm going to show you on Scam Tracker here took the COVID-19 twist. So lots of different ways that the scammer can play with emotions here. And this is Scam Tracker, where you can report a scam or find the scams that are going on in your area. It's pretty simple to use. It's a heat map. You can find it at bbb.org/scam tracker. Like I said, you can see what's going on in your area or report a scam to us. Very simple to do both. But I am going to take you into how to look up what is going on in your area. So in this case, I used a keyword. You can use the keyword function if you want to or not. I typed in COVID-19 and I found some scams that are taking place in our area. And in Monona, I can see on August 11th, there was a COVID-19 scam posted, and this consumer did not lose any money, which was great because this consumer could have been out thousands of dollars. And if I click on the view button, I see this, and this is the scam report. So I'm just going to kind of do an overview here that the caller greeted my mom with "Hi, Grandma," and told her he wasn't feeling well and decided to go get tested for COVID-19. On the way to the testing site, he rear-ended a woman who was distracted by his phone, and now he's in custody. In this case, they did not get to the point of asking for money because the dad intervened the phone call. But the next step was asking for money, and chances are it was going to be those gift cards to eat or go out and buy them, scratch off the back, and either email or text the numbers. A government agency or a hospital will never require gift cards as payment. So that's a dead giveaway right there. Second of all, this is happening in our own communities, and it is underreported. It's probably happening more than we know about it. If somebody was a victim in Monona, somebody from the west side of Madison was probably also a victim. So this can happen anywhere. It can happen to anybody. Sometimes it doesn't even involve a grandparent. Sometimes it just involves individuals as well. So lots of scary stuff out there, and this can take you for thousands of dollars if you really think about how much medical bills or custody can cost you in the long run. So use Scam Tracker, see what's going on in your area, really zero down. If you are approached with a scam, see if somebody else has reported that scam, and don't feel afraid to not to report it to us too. Please report it to us. That way we are able to help protect others and get it out into the media that this is going around our area. We don't want you to be a victim. We want you to be proactive, and we want you to be reporting that stuff to us and using this tool that's available for free for you. And lastly, I talked about this a little bit in the beginning, check before you buy. When you sign on to bbb.org, this is what you're going to see. You can either search by category or business name and then the city. Once you find what you're looking for, you are going to find a full profile here. It's going to give you a lot of information and data about your business. Dave Jones Inc., they are a partner of ours. They do have an A+ rating with several customer reviews that are positive. I do want to talk a little bit about reviews as well. We do encourage you to read reviews, and we encourage you to read reviews across all platforms. The difference between a BBB review and a review on Google or Yelp is that the consumer has had to have an interaction with the business in order to leave a review on bbb.org. I can't tell my neighbor, hey, Eric, I had a bad experience with Dave Jones. Can you go and plaster a bad review across all online platforms? He can't do that on bbb.org. The only person that can post a review on bbb.org is the consumer who has had an interaction with that business. So it is a tried or true review. They are legitimate reviews. They are not lies. So make sure that you're using all platforms, but pay attention to bbb.org when you are researching a business and reading reviews. And that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions for me, my contact information is right on the screen there. Feel free to ask any questions at the end of this presentation. And I enjoyed talking with you today.
If I could jump in here, before everyone leaves, I'd like to send a poll out to everyone to get your opinion of the webinar today. So it could, while you're talking with Tiffany, please it'll take you a minute or so to do this. Okay. My question, Tiffany, is: are there any investment scams? I mean, we see all these gadgets. People are inventing air cleaners and light machines and tablets of this sort or another. Do you get any of that kind of thing? And if do you deal with that, or is that a different division of government?
Well, when you say investment scams, typically we talk about real investment scams. So financial professionals knocking on your door unsolicited. When you are investing time and effort into using a financial professional, we do encourage you to check out that financial professional on FINRA's broker check. When it comes to like startup investments, I'm sure there's scams out there, but it's not something that we see that we really talk about in depth. Obviously it can happen when people are investing in new products and stuff, but these are the tried and true scams that we see over and over and over again, and there's always going to be one-ups out there.
Okay. Feel free to chime in, everyone.
Have a question?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Harold.
Yes, does a business that I might be trying to check on have to be a member of BBB before I can get any information on them?
They do not, and there are businesses who don't have a BBB profile, and that's something that we're working on every day to get more and more businesses in our database. If you don't find a lot of information on a business, whether you're going to BBB or Google or anywhere you're trying to find information on a business, that should be a red flag that to proceed cautiously when using that business. But again, newer businesses may not have a lot of information out there. You really need to do your research and be savvy, ask a lot of questions before you invest your hard-earned money with them.
I guess I'm not totally clear. If a business is not registered with BBB, do you have any information on them? Can one file a complaint?
Oh, yes. If we don't have any information on them and you need to file a complaint on them, yes, please go through our complaint process, and you can do that at bbb.org/complaint, and that will get it started.
Okay, great.
And that's where a lot of our investigations come from too, these illegitimate businesses, consumers reporting these businesses where no information can be found. And then we start developing information and we're able to supply information with what we have. If it is a definite scam, there's never going to be information on that business.
Anyone else?
Thank you so much. This was very interesting.
Sure,
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Thank you for having me. And like I said, if any of you would like this presentation or another for your own organizations, let me know and I'm happy to set something up.
And I'll be putting this presentation eventually on our Triads of Dane County YouTube site. And so you're free to share it with your friends and any organizations you know of. So I'll be up in a few days.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks again.
Great
everyone.
program.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Mike, I'm just going to take a snapshot here.
Fantastic.
Does anybody else need my contact information? Otherwise, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and give control back to Mike. Okay, Mike, I'm going to hand it on back over to you. And
All right.
again, thank you for having me. And I really enjoyed talking with you guys.
Likewise. Thanks again, Tiffany. Really appreciate your expertise.
Thank you.